Hello, hello. I'm Strider, your host here at Author in the Headlights. And as always, I want to thank you for joining us today. And today on Author in the Headlights, we have Kathleen Osborne. Good morning, Kathleen.
Good morning, Strider.
And it's a beautiful day on your screen anyway. Looks like you're out in the islands, which I really don't think you are, but you never know.
Up in the mountains.
That's right. Arizona, is that right?
Yes, the White Mountains in Arizona.
So now you do, I think it's like romantic fantasy fiction and some mythologies.
I do science fiction with romance and aliens because
And
and
aliens.
and the aliens, yes. Meet the aliens. I do I believe in them. I believe that there is another life, but I also live 30 miles away from where there actually has been a recorded and reported abduction, and the guy was able to get loose from them. And, so it's like apropos for being in the White Mountains to do something with aliens.
Well, I have spoken with a gentleman who claims abduction from his early childhood on and has written about it. And it makes you a believer, I tell you. And he's got lots of documentation and a book that's out there. Kind of leads you right into that fiction kind of stuff, which science fiction in that case, I suppose, not necessarily fantasy, but the romance part of it. Now, that's an interesting mix in there too. That makes it fun and readable. And
Yeah, it's the romance. What it does is it ties the two cultures together. I create a world for the aliens. I create their laws, their language, all of that. But the humans are human and they come from Earth. Either the aliens are coming here to protect us or to save us or to save someone, or the women have been abducted and sent to their planet because they are like 300 boy babies being born to one girl. The women are, they're such a small number that they're very, very protected. And if a woman uh, says something, it can be law. Or if she is offended, she can say, strike that person down because they offended me.
she's a needed entity there. That's right. There's so few. I could see that. You bet. Well, what is your most recent book that you put out? Which one of those?
Uh, Dream Brides is my most recent one that I published, but oddly enough, it was the first one I wrote.
Yeah, I understand that. I have books I've written that have not been published. I even have books that are award-winning books as manuscripts that haven't been published.
Oh my
Too
God.
many things to do.
Oh, wow. Why don't you start publishing those, Strider?
I'm busy. I'm finished on my other books and I've got more in the works. And like that's going backwards and I have to, I know.
You can work at it so hard. You get so wrapped up in it. That's what happened with Dream Brides. And I had so many people look at it. I was being torn one side to the other. And I finally just stopped. And I had to put it down for about a year before I could pick it back up and finally finish it.
Okay. And then you've got a couple others. I don't even know if they're similar. King of Onus and Saved by the King of Onus. I presume those two are connected.
Well, they were actually the same book. When I published Saved by the King of Onus, um, that was poorly edited. I thought it was well edited, but it was not. And some very, very dear friends of mine called me and said, we need to talk. A glass of wine.
Hey, sometimes we need that if it
Yeah.
doesn't do what we think.
So I pulled it after 5 days and I did a complete revision. That's why I like programs like Atticus and Draft Digital, they're very good at helping you discover if you're going to have those blank pages so that you can take them out.
Yep, I use Atticus mostly now. The one thing Atticus does not have is your text to voice that it'll read back to you. Now, it's not like having a narrator do it, but it does read your words so that you can hear it. And I find that so important to authors. So, you authors out there, if you don't do that, I highly suggest it. Um, Word will do it. You can take things and transfer it into Word, transpose it, and it will read back to you. Because hearing it back, you find things that you don't catch when you're reading it.
That's right.
Again, it's like editing. You have to have it edited by somebody else. You can't edit your own work. You can work at it, but as a final product, you have to have it edited by someone else because your brain already knows what it expects to find, and it
Yes.
will read through those, and you will not see them. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Now, I do like autocrit because it does do dictation and it will also read back.
I can't think fast enough to dictate it.
Oh,
I've tried. It's like my stories are slowly typed out and then
oh,
corrected. I'm just slow. That's it. Other people, I'm sure it works great. And I do know that is a method. It doesn't work for me, at least not at this point. At least to get started, you may have to go back through it. But you're going to have to edit it anyway. You always edit 5 or 6 or 15 times.
I agree with the 15.
Yeah, it is a constant thing. And then once your book is published, you read back through it and you find little things that even if you had a line edit done on by someone or some business, you still find things that aren't quite right. And luckily nowadays, particularly if you're self-published, you can go back in and correct those minor things and just update it. And it just updates with the same numbers and everything. I didn't know that when I started. There's so many things you learn in this curve of being an author.
Yeah. Oh, that's exactly what it is a curve, a learning curve, a huge learning curve.
And I also now use a beta reader because they pick up things.
Oh, yeah.
Again, when you already know the story, you miss things that like where they don't connect. I always worry about that when I write. Like, oh gosh, did I miss something? Where does it not flow? And by having someone else read it, looking for those things, not line edit type things, um, but just the flow of the story. Does it make sense? Does it connect everywhere? Am I missing something? You know, that the beta readers, that really helps.
Yeah. Well, that's what I found out with King of Onus. I'm writing the second book. It's what's happened to her best friend at the same time she was abducted.
Now you've got another book, Hidden Dragons. What
Yeah.
is that?
Hidden Dragons is about a people that were had a planet, but the planet was dying and they had to leave. And they were in space for so long, a couple thousand years. Now they live a long time uh,
That
because
helps.
because they're transition into dragons back and forth.
Mhm.
And they had no place to fly. So that memory got repressed. That's what's hidden. It was hidden from them that they were dragons.
Okay, that's cute. I
Yeah,
do like that. That's neat.
that's
Yeah,
one of the main things is the discovery that they can fly.
it's neat to have those sneaky things in there. Dragons, a dragon, well, it's not. It's according to who's writing it, right?
Yes.
Now you also do anthologies. You've got several couple of sets of different things where is it your publications or are you just part of that anthology works?
I'm actually the founder, and we are called Transcendent Authors. Our website for that is transcendent-authors.com. and we have 7 books out. And we
Yeah.
started it because I started it because I found out my dad had adult ADD and he couldn't read anything beyond a short story in a magazine.
All right. You said you have 7 out there. I know you have Deceit and Tolerance. It's one set. And you've got the season set, which is spring, summer, autumn, and winter, 4 separate books.
Yeah.
And those are short stories,
Mhm.
anthologies by multiple authors. So transcendent-authors.com. And that's the Life series, right?
Yes. Mhm.
All right. Ah, writing is so much fun and it is so much stress and it is so much work and it takes such a long time, although it doesn't have to. I have friends that write books in 3 months, honest. I don't. I take more like 3 years.
Well, the thing is and you work on that second book, you work on that third book. Um, that's the biggest thing is to know for your readers to know that you're going for the next book. You're on
Yeah.
it.
And I'm almost done with my third book in the Adventures of Ronan Stone series. And it's like just waiting. It's just finishing it off. And boy, it better be done in a couple months. It's been a long time waiting. Too long. Too long.
Yeah. Well, I'm anxious to read one of your books.
They are just fun. They are fun. In fact, that's probably the most common word used in their reviews. And they've got, gosh, almost 100 reviews for each of them. And they're good. My last one, um, Luna, has 4.9 stars still. And,
That's good.
it's great. They're fun. They're fun to read. So anybody in any, though it's called young adult action adventure, the genre, it's like a lot of the movies that were blockbusters are young adult action adventure because they're fun for everybody. It doesn't matter who is watching it. I'd probably say more adults read it than youth do. So,
Oh, I agree.
and in fact, knowing that because I write to young adult, and I know they're educated, but not yet mature in all of that because the brain growth and everything. My writing is set up so that it teaches as well as entertains. So if I use a big word, which I'm a believer in words, then in the story, it has to explain what that word is. And I really try to put that into my work so that it is teaching as well as entertaining. And somebody comes out of it, adults or youth, with more knowledge than they went in with. And I enjoy doing that.
I think that's awesome.
Hey, we're getting short on time here, so we're going to have to cut this down, but we may have to meet again, and just do this some more down the road.
I'd love that. I'd love
Okay.
that much.
Okay. I want to thank everybody for joining us. This is Kathleen Osborne. Check her out or her writing group, Transcendent Authors, and we'll have a link online for that. And Kathleen, thank you.
Thank you so much. I
You
really
betcha. Okay. Till next time.